Good evening and welcome. Tonight we're going to be continuing our read through of this magazine, Atlas of the Ancient World. I've got my paintbrush here to paint along the maps. Also, Bonnie is here. She's being chaotic neutral right now, so that's happening. So yeah, like we found out last time, we're going to read about ancient China, because my whole gimmick with this magazine is that I don't read anything in advance other than just the titles. So I don't know what we're going to learn about exactly other than like Confucius. Like this map here, I haven't read it. So let's find out together. Let's read about ancient China, starting with the Middle Kingdom. Let's see what it says. The seeds of Chinese civilization had been planted by 2200 BCE along the Yellow River, where the yellow loess deposited along its banks provided fertile soil for millet cultivation. From about 1750 BCE to roughly 1100 BCE, autocratic rulers of the Shang dynasty presided over a growing population. They were finally ousted by a rebellion led by the founders of the Zhao dynasty, who expanded the kingdom from north of the Yellow River to south of the Yangtze. And it says this is the Yellow River. Flowing along, not looking very yellow at the moment. It's very bright, vivid blue, just like this beautiful sky up here. And do you see all the mountain peaks up here? Do you think those are what the Tianshan? I don't know what these mountains are, but they're all very snow-capped. Here comes the Yellow River. Yeah, the ground out here is much more yellow than the Yellow River, but it does become very yellowy. Where is she going? Okay, the cat jumped off the desk. That's what that was. Let's look at this first map. It says early dynasties. The earliest concentrated Chinese cultures date to the New Stone Age and preceded the Bronze Age farmers and metalworkers who prospered in the Yellow River Valley. Politically, the Yangtze Valley lagged behind the Yellow River region, where people living in the floodplain downriver from the first settlements banded together under strong leadership to dig ditches and drainage canals for irrigation and flood control. That was a really long sentence. Whew, goodness. But an interesting one. I didn't know that. Chinese annals later credited a legendary ruler named Yu the Great, founder of the equally legendary Xia dynasty. Hey, baby. Oh, no, she wants out. 1 second. Okay, I'm now kittenless. She's a kitten. Anyway, we were talking about the Xia dynasty, the equally legendary Xia dynasty, with taming the Yellow River floodplain around 2200 BCE in the centuries to come. The Shang and Zhao empires grew rapidly west and south of the Yangtze River. So the Xia dynasty is red, the Shang dynasty is orange, and the Zhao dynasty is gold. So let's see. Xia dynasty circa 2000 BCE. You can see following the Yellow River here. Then the Shang dynasty, circa 1600 BCE. Much bigger, but still surrounding the Yellow River and now has a coastline. It says right here each dynasty is shown at its maximum extent. And then we have the Zhao dynasty, circa 1045 BCE, much wider, extending out farther and taking parts of the Yangtze River and more of the Yellow Sea coastline there along the Yangtze River. So definitely still centered around the Yellow River here, but with bits of the Yangtze as well, like making it a border right there. Pretty interesting. About Confucius. It says, the teacher and philosopher known to the West as Confucius, it says he's depicted here in Shanghai's Wenmiao Temple, was born in Kongtu in 551 BCE. His family may once have been noble, but they had apparently fallen on hard times because Kong took menial jobs as a young man. Nevertheless, he excelled as a scholar, learning ritual, music, the classics, and more. Simple and unassuming in manner, according to accounts, Kong believed that education and reflection led to virtue, and that those who aspired to command others should cultivate moral authority in themselves. He rose through government ranks to become Minister of Justice in the state of Le. After falling out of favor, he gathered a circle of disciples who knew him as Confucian, or Master Kong. These pupils recorded his words in the Analects, a collection of ethical concepts that guided Chinese governments for millennia. He died in 479 BCE, leaving behind thousands of devoted students. Confucian, maybe? Like Confucius? I'm not sure. But here's Confucius, would pretty much change China forever, would go on to change ancient Japan and Korea as well, since the Chinese influenced those cultures greatly in the early days. These characters back here. Do you guys like to watch Ting Ting draw the characters? I love when she does those. I'm sure I'm doing it all wrong. She always goes like that. I love it. I love Ting Ting's videos. Let's see what else we have. Oh, it's the Great Wall. Excellent. I'm going to talk about the Qin dynasty. For about 250 years, beginning in the 5th century BCE, China's kingdoms fought for dominance, a period known as the Warring States. Finally, one state, the Qin, from northwest China, took control around 221 BCE and gave China its name. The country's first emperor, Qin Shi Huangdi, expanded the winding system of defensive walls known as the Great Wall of China, built roads, standardized measurements, and crushed his opposition. So yeah, the Great Wall of China, which I've actually covered a bit in my Beijing video. I actually had a lot of fun researching Beijing for that video. It was the first video, oh my gosh, I just realized the first video that I filmed in this house that we're approaching our 1-year anniversary of moving into this house in a couple weeks, and Beijing was the first video I filmed here where all of our furniture was in boxes and I was here all alone in the house. It was so quiet. But no, I have fond memories of researching Beijing and filming that video and learning so much about it. Especially looking at pictures of the Great Wall. There's so many good pictures on Google Earth. Alright, let's look at this. This talks about the map over here. It says Qin and Han. Under future Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi, the state of Qin steadily expanded from its territory on the Sichuan plains toward the coast. The subsequent Han dynasty pressed the country's borders even farther to encompass the coast to the south and the valuable Silk Road routes to the northwest. Northern nomads plagued both dynasties. Han Emperor Wudi sent up to 100,000 men into the north to push them back. Alright, so let's remember where we started. Remember the dynasty was around here, right? Now look how much it's expanded. The Qin state, 350 BCE, was right here. You can see the capital Shenyang right there, and the western capital Chang'an right there. Just this size. Then the Qin state by 300 BCE expands out to here, along here by the looks of it. I think. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to tell when the shades are so close together. Make sure I'm tracing the right one. Look, you can see the Great Wall as well. Blocking right here. The Long Wall of Wei, 353 BCE. So perfect timing for that. Then the Qin gains by 250 BCE is all out here. Much farther out. See some battles there as well. I'm sure we'll talk about them down there. Down in here as well. Maybe a big valley right there or something. Or mountains. You can see a little bit of wall right there. Wall of Chu. Then the Qin gains by 221 BCE. Looks like... Oh wait, we just read that one, didn't we? Qin gains by 206 BCE. At least I hope so. It's all out here. Oh, I didn't see this. I think this is the 206. Okay, maybe I don't remember. Okay, so I was right. 221 BCE is all this. I see now. Okay, I was right. Because it goes out here. I just didn't see this part down here. So we can see the Long Wall of Zhao from 300 BCE and the Long Wall of Yan from 290 BCE. Encompassing all of this here. All up here. Protecting all of this territory here. And going down south here to the east, China Sea. There's a wall right here too. It says wall built by Qi, 353 BCE. So yeah, look at all these different, I guess, kingdoms, empires. I got the Qin, of course, the Wei, the Han, which most Chinese people today are Han Chinese, right? The Zhao, Yan, Qi, Chu. Down here is the Yue, can't be conquered apparently. Goryeo and Xia up here, the Korean kingdoms. Interesting. So let's see, the Han Empire by 200 CE is all of this green here. So they've got northern Korea, all across here through probably what's now Mongolia, maybe parts of Russia, all across here. Probably into like Afghanistan, all through the mountains, and all down here. And all up along here, along this jagged coastline. And they've got Hainan as well. This big island here. Massive, isn't it? Look at wall built by Han, 117 to 100 BCE. And then we have, let's see, the Silk Road is red. So we have the Silk Road coming into here, or starting here, however you want to think of it. And going out. There, Lanzhou, Wu Wei, Changya, I think that says, Dunhuang. And then splitting here, go to Churchin, Hotan, Shache, up to Kashi, or this way, the mountains. Or you could go up here to Wubei, Guja to Kashi, around the Taklamakan Desert. Which I know that there were little Silk Road routes through the Taklamakan, but maybe not at this time. Then we have Chinese campaigns. I see a bunch happening up here, but there's some over here too. Looks like from here they went after Turpan in 105 BCE and to Churchin in 108 BCE. A big battle here. I think that says Mobei, 119 BCE. Attacking in 99 BCE. From Wuyan in 119 BCE. 128 BCE, 92 BCE. A big battle there in 119. There's little battles down here. Da Tong 201 BCE. Luoyang, I think no, it says Gao Ping 260 BCE, I think it says. Then here's Gaixia 202 BCE. The Red Cliffs in 208 CE. And just this battle, it's unnamed apparently in 219 CE. Maybe Red Cliffs Part 2, I don't know. Great map. I think that's the best map we've got in this magazine so far. Very informative. I like it. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, look at this map. Oh, that's great. But let's read first about the Han Dynasty. Oh, wait. No, wait. Stop. We didn't read this part. Left behind Terracotta Army. I read this first line about Chaos Fall the Death, and I was like, wait, we didn't talk about the Terracotta Warriors. Gotta talk about, then you can't talk about Qin Shi Huangdi without the warriors. Very important. In 1974, workers digging a well near the Chinese city of Xi'an in the province of Shanxi unearthed a figure more than 2,000 years old, a life-size soldier made of terracotta. Authorities soon found many more such buried figures, thousands of clay soldiers, as well as horses, chariots, and even metal weaponry, still shiny. Arrayed in military formation, seemingly ready for battle, the soldiers bore traces of the bright paint that must once have decorated them. 6,000 soldiers and chariots filled one excavated pit. More than 1,000 clay cavalrymen, horses, and wooden chariots are packed in another. Wow. The ancient army was stationed just east of an acropolis surrounding the tomb of Qin Shi Huangdi, apparently a stand-in for the afterlife with which he was obsessed. The tomb and surroundings were probably begun soon after he took power in 221 BCE. They remained unfinished at his death. So it was supposed to be even more splendid than it is now. It's so interesting. It's definitely, if I ever get to go to China, I want to see the museum that they have there for the terracotta soldiers. I know that there are terracotta soldiers all over the world in various museums now, but I want to see the museum that they built near the excavation site, where I believe they're still digging and researching. Pretty sure. So interesting. Okay, now we can go to this cool map over here and read about what happened after Qin Shi Huangdi died and was buried with all his soldiers. Chaos followed the death of Qin Shi Huangdi. His heirs turned on one another. Ministers assassinated other ministers, and nobles, generals, and peasants formed clashing armies. By 202 BCE, one peasant turned general had carried the day, Liu Bang, known henceforth by the title Han Gaoju, founded a dynasty that lasted for more than 400 years. Governed by the principles of Confucianism, Han culture emphasized both education and the arts, as seen in the Han silk hanging below. That's really interesting. These very dark colors together, little bits of white in there. These little, I was about to say flowers, but I think that's a dragon. I can see him breathing fire. See a dark, like black, and browns, and this red, around this black bird. And think this is silk as well, so it's soft and very smooth. Goodness, I wonder what's it's all supposed to represent. Maybe an event of some kind, but look at this bird. I wonder what that's supposed to mean. It's surrounded by red. It's almost Grecian in a way, the red and black, right? But not at all at the same time. It doesn't look Greek at all, but the color scheme is kind of there with this bird. Interesting. Let's read about the Silk Road. A network of footpaths and caravan trails across rugged mountains and barren lands linked China to the Mediterranean for centuries, beginning in the 2nd century BCE. Han emissaries opened up the routes to the west, which is in red, for China's valuable silk exports, though the journey took months to complete. Only when trade became more profitable via new sea routes, which aptly are in blue, in the 7th century CE, did commerce along the ancient paths begin to decline. So I think we should read the boxes around it first before we trace this cool map here. It says the flow of silk. Cloth of emperors. Silk remained China's secret for more than 2,000 years. The fine fabric is made from a fiber produced by insects called silkworms and used to build their cocoons. But the secret seeped out. Silkworms may have reached Japan in 300 CE. In the 6th century, according to legend, the Byzantine Emperor Justinian sent 2 monks to China to secure a supply of worms. From then on, the cult of the silkworm would thread its way through empires and centuries. Let's see these boxes down here. It says Rome. Silk exported to Rome by 1 CE was literally worth its weight in gold. Laws tried unsuccessfully to curb the appetite for silk. Interesting laws about owning silk. Sea routes. The Silk Road began to decline in the 7th century when sea trade with China developed more fully, and sea routes proved safer than the treacherous land journey. Here it says India. Legend traces silk in India to a Chinese princess who smuggled silkworm eggs to Hotan. Alright, so here we see Canton, it's Hong Kong today. Let's go overland. Up to Xi'an. If we go this way, it goes to Ganga, Ganji, I guess however you pronounce it. I'm sure there's many different ways depending on where you are in the world. Or this one goes up to Anshi, Turpan, and to Kashi, or this one goes to Hotan and Shachi, Kashi, again around the Taklamakan there. So if you're in Kashi, you can head to Samarkand and Bukhara to Mary, that's right. Or you could just go straight there to Mari, I think it's pronounced. Then head to Ray, Hamadan. Baghdad is in the crease here. Let me squish it down. Can you see Baghdad right there? And then you could go to Antioch or Tyre. And then take a sea route from Antioch to Rome. Because going by land would be much longer than just taking it on a boat. Then we have the sea routes, and starting here in Canton. Hopefully you can see. Sailing down past Hainan, past Southeast Asia, right here through the Strait of Malacca, right? You can either sail up to Ganga or down here to Ceylon, past Sri Lanka. And you can sail over to the Horn of Africa. I don't think there's a dot there. Or, oh, look at this. If you were coming the other way, you could sail to Babarakhan to take the land route up to the main route. But we're heading this way. We're going to go up through the Red Sea. Once you hit Sinai, you got to walk over to Alexandria. Then take a boat to Tyre and Antioch to sail off to the Mediterranean, through the Mediterranean to Rome. Very long path, but of course people didn't like travel the whole thing. Like they would stop over at places and trade. You know, if someone's bringing stuff this way, they stop here in Mari. They'd swap. You know, this goes to Rome, this goes to China. They'd swap and then go their directions. They wouldn't go the whole way. That would take years. But back then, you know. Neat map. The Himalayas here. It's interesting they had a route that went through the Himalayas. I didn't know that. A land route at least, right? I think sailing around would be much easier than trying to take goods and things up and down those mountains. Interesting. I didn't skip anything, did I? I don't think so. says lively art. Although China was largely a farming society during the long-running Han era, it was still a fertile ground for innovation and art. Among its most significant contributions were ceramic vases, like these up here, many of them buried as grave goods. It was during this era that ceramists never thought about what a person that makes ceramics is called. Ceramics is called a ceramist. Interesting. Ceramists began to employ some of the glazes for which Chinese pottery later became famous, including lead-based glazes of green, yellow, brown, and celadon. Although they were produced by state-controlled workshops, Han ceramics display both exquisite artistry and a lively expressiveness, as in the animal mask over here. They also provide a window into everyday life, as miniature ceramic servants, farmyard animals, dogs, and soldiers have been found in Han-era tombs. Entire troops of ceramic performers, such as drummers, jugglers, and sword dancers, were interred with the deceased, presumably to amuse them in the afterlife. Let's take a look at these ceramic vases here. Very rounded there. What do you think were stored in these? I'm guessing water, considering how much space you have here. Maybe there's a way to pour out. I don't know. But look how interestingly it's painted. And then stripes here. And then these lovely designs all around the center. Big circle there and waves coming through. And these beautiful striped colors. Let's see this one. These waves. Maybe like dragons. Or this one kind of looks like a bird. Like you can kind of see it here too, like the beak at the head. Like it's looking around this circle, like a little cormorant or something. Interesting. Really pretty. Colors are so bright. Colors I wouldn't really associate with ancient China, right? I don't know, orange and I guess this muted greenish color. Interesting choices there. But this definitely looks Chinese to me. Animal mask. I'm guessing it's like a lion because this looks like a mane right here. But maybe it's like a big dog or something. Looks like bits of his head here have broken off. And he's got big eyes and a big old nose. Kind of looks like a human nose. It's weird. Eyebrow bones up there and a big mouth. And big teeth. And his tongue sticking out. And wow. Interesting. I'm gonna still guess it's a lion based on all this. But probably a dog. Maybe it's a dragon too. I don't know. There's no body attached. Alright, let's see what this page says. It says General Cao Cao, which I'm not positive that's how that's pronounced, but that's what it looks like. General Cao Cao, warlord and poet. In the Han era, it was no contradiction to be a general and a poet. The warlord Cao Cao was both. Born of a family with ties to the emperor, the young soldier quickly became known for his cleverness and ambition. Gaining fame after suppressing the Yellow Turban Rebellion, a vast peasant uprising, Cao Cao gradually rose above the other Han generals and became a minor king in his own right, ruling over the domain of Wei. In addition to a career in combat, he found time to write well-regarded poetry in a plain but thoughtful style. To my wine I sing a song. A man's life can last how long, ephemeral as morning dew, he wrote before one of his most famous but unsuccessful conflicts, the Battle of Red Cliff. It says below, portrait shows him standing on a boat reciting his famous poem before battle. Just reading about Redcliffe. Apparently it was not successful. For this guy, at least. He's wearing these little flowing robes in the sea wind. You can see his clothes just fluttering there. All these beautiful designs and colors. This big staff here. Spear. Some kind of weapon. Reciting poetry before going to these cliffs to fight in battle. Pretty interesting picture there. And the water details are very nice too. You can see the beach up here. And the ripply waves. Where the water's extra choppy between the calm of the open sea and the beach here. Very interesting. It's a nice piece of art. I think that's the sun or the moon rising. I don't know. Maybe the moon because it looks very dark. I thought there's birds flying. Interesting. I'm sure it's all symbolic. But that is all for tonight. All I know is that this is the last page. I didn't see what's next. Let's see. Mediterranean. Are we going to Greece? Oh, we're going to the Minoans next. Excellent. Let's talk about the Minoans next time. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing so you can see the Minoans. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as well. If you're still awake, give it a thumbs up. I hope you found this video to be relaxing and educational. And I hope that you have a good